Hello everyone. My name is Lady Pixelheart, and today I'll be going over 5 tips on how to price your art for selling commissions online. Welcome back to Commissions 101. Have you been enjoying this series so far? I know I have. As mentioned before, today we're going to be covering how to price your commissions. I went over this briefly in my first video on the playlist, 5 tips on selling your commissions online, but I figured it would be good to go further into depth about it here. So let's begin. Tip number 1, self-reflect. Before you begin to sell your art online, you should set some time aside to consider the following. How much time does it take you? What I mean by this is how much time it takes you from start to finish a piece of art. This is a good thing to know for turnaround times. How in demand are you? Do you have people constantly messaging you to get a commission? Do you have a lot of workload that is coming in consistently? Do you have a lot of experience? Do you draw every single day? Do you draw only once a month? Have you just started drawing, or have you been drawing for years? How much do you value your art? Is your art worth a lot to you, or is it just a hobby that you like to do on the side? How much are you spending on supplies and tools? Do you do art online digitally where your only expenses are your streaming subscriptions or your art program subscriptions? Or are you a traditional artist where you have to go out to the store and buy paints and tools? These are all very important factors to consider before pricing your art. Tip number 2, research. When you go to research how much you should be pricing your art, it's always good to look at other people's prices to try to get a gauge for what other people at your same skill level are charging for their art. You should also ask people what they think your art is worth, if you care. A lot of times people will kind of lowball people in order to try to get a better price, but it's always good to ask people what they think is a fair price to charge. A lot of clients have more experience dealing with artists, and they will give you a reasonable price for what they think that your current skill level should be priced at. Or you can watch videos like this one. There's tons of videos on YouTube that have advice such as this about how to price your art. And if you just look them up, you'll find a whole bunch of different people telling you all kinds of great tips. Tip number 3, minimum wage, industry standards. What are those? So for this section, I decided to time out one of my commissioned art pieces and compare it to minimum wage and industry standard. You'll see this piece over here. This is actually one of the more common commission types I get. It's just a one character full body with cel shading and a simple background. This piece in total took me about 7.5 hours to make. Can you guess how much it costs? I'll let you know at the end of this section. First of all, let's go over minimum wage. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. However, where I live, minimum wage is about $9 an hour. So if I was charged $9 an hour for 7.5 hours, I would be charged for $67. That's not too bad, right? But if we're going by industry standards, what I should be being charged is about $21.30 an hour, which is on average what most self-employed fine artists are charging these days. So let's see, $21.30 for 7.5 hours? That would be $159.75. That sounds quite a bit more, and actually I would like to be able to charge that if I look at that on paper. I ask you again, guys, what do you think this art should have been priced at? Well, I priced it at $85. Which is a little bit below the industry standard, but it's definitely above minimum wage. And I think this is a good medium for most online artists to put in, because realistically, a lot of us can't charge the industry standards. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand why they think that people can charge that and you expect to get any clients, especially when you're first starting out. You don't have any community or anything. Tip number 4, when to start charging more. If you're getting a lot of work and you start to feel overwhelmed, it might be a sign that you need to start charging more. Another thing that can cause you to charge more for your commissions is when your skills have improved. If you've noticed an increase, or if other people have noticed an increase in your art skills and techniques, then maybe it's time for an upcharge. Another reason you should increase your charges is when your turnaround time is faster. If you've started to notice that a 2-character piece is no longer taking you 4 or 5 days to complete, but more like 3 or 4 days to complete, it's a reasonable choice to go ahead and start charging more for that type of art. Turnaround times are a very important factor when it comes to charging for art. A lot of people will pay more just to get their art faster. Another sign that you should start charging more for your art is when your clients start tipping you a lot. Clients will tip people based off of what they think art is worth. A lot of clients are very generous and seem to think, oh, you're not charging enough for your art, so I'll go ahead and tip you more on the invoice. This is a sign that you probably should be charging more for your art, especially if your clients are already willing to pay that amount. Tip number 5, make your own decisions. Don't let people push you around. A lot of artists out there will try to push other artists around into changing their prices. They'll say things like, you're undercharging for your art, you're undercutting the rest of us, you're underselling, you're being too expensive. People will try to bully you all around for what you're charging for your art, but ultimately it's your decision on what you charge for your art. But this doesn't mean you shouldn't accept critique on your prices. If people are starting to say that you're too expensive, way too much, maybe it's time to consider lowering just a little bit in case there's some issues that you don't know about. In conclusion, pricing your art is a process that you'll be continuously tweaking. I myself started at $2 a character, and now I'm charging about $100 per commission. Don't let other people get you down, and don't feel bad about having to start lower than others. It's all part of the process, and we're all learning and growing together. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a comment, like, or subscribe. It helps a lot. Also, please suggest topics you'd like to see me cover in the next Commissions 101 video. I really appreciate any input you want to give me. Now it's time for Patreon thank yous. Thank you to Aaron Crandall, Alatus T, Brookie J, Captain Kiri, Kathy Jaws, Darnell G, Darth Facetious, Devon, Dylan B, Icarus J, Inspector Raff, Coda Alfrez, Fallen One, Space Banana, V is for Yoshi. That's it for now. See you in the next video. Bye-bye!